I remember going to Pakistan to visit my family. And there's one day in specific that I remember. I was getting ready to go to a local market, and the house that I was in started to shake. Now, being very young at this time, I thought that it was an earthquake. But when I went outside to see what it was, I heard police sirens and ambulance noises, and I quickly realized that it wasn't an earthquake, but it was a suicide bomb blast at the very same market that I was getting ready to go to. Now, I remember going past the market a few hours later to see what the aftermath was. And what I saw was absolutely horrifying. I saw parents mourning the loss of their children and children mourning the loss of their parents. But I knew at that moment, standing there as a 12-year-old, that I wanted to make some sort of a difference, that I wanted to help people in that sort of a situation. Now, fast forward to May of 2010. One specific Friday, my family members in Pakistan went to go pray at a local mosque. Now, unfortunately, this very same day, a terrorist group called Al-Qaeda attacked that same mosque. What ensued on for the next 6 to 7 hours was a firefight between the Pakistani military and the terrorists. By the end of the 6 to 7 hours, 92 people died and 120 were injured. Thousands of miles away, I remember watching the whole incident unfold on live television with my parents. We were all silently watching the broadcast, secretly praying that my family members remained unharmed. Fortunately, my family members did remain unharmed. They hid in the bathrooms while the terrorists attacked, but now they live with lifelong trauma what happened. Now fast forward once again to last year of 2019, when there was an identical incident in New Zealand that happened, in which an extremist shot a mosque and killed and injured many people. Now, this time being much older with more resources, I knew that I wanted to make some sort of a difference. So I took what I was passionate about, which is physical exercise, and specifically pull-ups, and I wanted to use that as a charity event. So I'm from Lexington. I contacted the president and CEO of this company called Class 101, and I pitched him this idea. I said, I want to do pull-ups for charity. And the logistics of the event was, I said, give me 8 hours, 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. All I'm asking for is $1 per pull-up. So naturally, the first question that he asked me was, well, how many pull-ups do you think I can do in 8 hours? I didn't know. I just said the first number that came to my mind, which was 1,000. So he agreed. The next day I went to the gym, and my goal was to see how many pull-ups I can do in 1 hour, and then multiply the number by 8, just to get a baseline of where I was. And so I remember the first day I did 30 pull-ups in that 1 hour. I left home feeling defeated and exhausted. I had absolutely no idea how I was going to get from 30 to 1,000. So I joined a boxing gym the next day, and I started training with these professional boxers, and the coaches created their own workout routine for me. So every day I would come, and I would do 15 minutes of jump rope, 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, and that was my warm-up. After that was when the real workout began. So I left home after that boxing gym feeling exhausted and defeated, but I knew that the pain was going to be worth it. So I slowly went from 30 pull-ups to 100 to 200 to 300. So 1 week before the event, I set a timer for 8 hours. And I said my goal is going to be to do 1,000 pull-ups in these 8 hours. So long story short, I maintained a steady pace about 3 to 4 pull-ups per minute with a 2-minute rest. I continued that process on, and I was able to do 1,000 pull-ups the week before the event. But it was at the expense of my physical health. During that time, I had calluses so big that my hands started to bleed. I was having back spasms. I was overexerting my kidneys, so I was using the bathroom about every 5 to 10 minutes. So the week, during the event, the week before, I wanted to rest. So I remember, fast forward a week, when it was time for the actual event, I showed up to the gym. There were 2 news stations there to film me, and I did my first pull-up at 6 a.m. So I remember that when I pulled myself up to the bar, I felt a sharp pain in my back. And that's when I realized that I hadn't fully recovered from the week before. And at that point, it was too late to reschedule. I already had people there filming me. I promised these people that I was going to raise money, so I changed my game plan, and I did about 2 to 3 pull-ups this time with a 3 to 4 minute rest break. Now, long story short, by the end of the 8 hours, I did not do 1,000 pull-ups. I did 1,200. Being face to face with the idea of mortality, from witnessing that bomb blast to voluntarily pushing myself through so much pain by doing pull-ups, taught me immense valuable lessons that I want to share with you all here today. But before I share these lessons, I want to clarify that this is not meant to be a motivational speech. This is a speech meant to build discipline and how we can actually use pain in our lives to our advantage to push us past our wildest goals. Now, I want to clarify that I'm not looking for ways to induce more pain into my life. I promise I'm a happy person. But I do believe that there is a hidden value in even the darkest moments of our lives. And with that being said, the first lesson that I want to share with you all today is that of responsibility. Now, responsibility is both a terrifying and exhilarating thing. See, it's terrifying because once we claim responsibility, it robs us of any excuses. But at the same time, it's exhilarating because once we claim responsibility, it gives us complete freedom of our lives. We are in control. Now, to illustrate the example, I want to kind of use something extreme. I want to talk about the Holocaust. When I was researching survivor stories, I came across 2 specifically well-documented incidences. And the first one is how the Nazis used to mentally break down the Jewish people at the camps. The first tactic was to break down the young Nazi men, or the young Jewish men. And what they did was that they would take the parents of the Jewish survivors and the people of the camps and execute them right in front of their children. As you can imagine, this broke down many people. An equally and brutal incident was they would punish pregnant women by stabbing them in the stomachs with bayonets. For the newborns who managed to survive, they were immediately tossed into the fire. Now, as you can imagine, this broke down many people at the camps, but one person in specific, a survivor, his name is Viktor Frankl. He wrote a book called A Man's Search for Meaning. He has a quote that says that everything can be taken from a man but the last of the human freedoms. And that is the ability to respond in the face of adversity. This shows us that no matter how bad life may get, we always have that one freedom to choose how we respond in the face of adversity. And often that decision alone is what differentiates successful people from those who fail. The second lesson that I want to share with y'all today is actually how to use pain to our advantage, how we can actually use it as fuel. Now, 6 hours into the actual pull-up event, I could not grip the pull-up bar because the calluses that I had were so painful, and I was having those bloody spots again. My calluses from the previous week had not recovered, and once again, the pain in my back was even more intense. My father, who's a physician, was there the entire 8 hours to make sure I didn't pass out, and he even recommended that I stop at the 6-hour mark. But naturally, I wanted to keep on going. I was using the restroom every 5 to 10 minutes, and I wish standing here today that I could tell you that what motivated me those last 2 hours was thinking about how many people I was going to inspire and the amount of money that I was raising. But to be honest, I didn't think about any of that. I went into this altered, dark state where I thought back to the little 12-year-old boy who I was in the middle of that bomb blast. That same boy who I was watching my family members being held hostage on live television. At that point, every pull-up I did became revenge for the victims. Every pull-up that I did became my fight against terrorists. And that's how, by the end of it, I did the 1,200 pull-ups. Now, the last lesson that I hope to share with you all today is that of gratitude. And gratitude can be a tricky thing because, as you've seen in this speech, there is so much evil in this world, but I believe that there is just as much good. But the tricky thing is that in order to appreciate the good, we have to acknowledge the evil. In order to appreciate the good times that we've had in life, we have to acknowledge the bad. Now, going back to the situation when I was a 12-year-old boy in the middle of that bomb blast, I remember thinking to myself that I wanted to make a difference, that I wanted to help these people in these sorts of situations. I could not be more thankful of the pain that caused me, because here I am today in medical school, finally able to make a difference and use a skill set to better the lives of people in the future. Now, growing up as a Muslim in today's society, my parents instilled one motto in me, and that's love for all, hatred for none. That motto taught me to appreciate every moment that we have in life, to appreciate every breath that we have, and to accept everyone, no matter what their religious, cultural, skin color differences may be. And once we combine that motto with peace, perseverance, and hard work, we can accomplish anything. Once I did my pull-ups event, a lot of people approached me and called me talented, strong, but I'm here to tell you that there is no talent. There is only hard work, perseverance, and gratitude. And once we combine that with the aspect of love for all, hatred for none, we will all surely be closer to accomplishing our goals. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk.